Hey guys, it is Joe Proulx here. Yeah, I'm going to be doing a quick review. And I think this is important because this was the album I was waiting for before I could really focus on my list because this was like the last big release that I was kind of ish looking forward to. I'm going to be doing a quick review of the new Cage the Elephant album. Tell Me I'm Pretty. If you do not know who Cage the Elephant is, they are a alternative rock band hailing from Bowling Green, Kentucky. This is their I think their fourth full-length album. I'm not a fan of their first two records. Just not that huge of a fan. I just thought, they had some good singles. They definitely had some good singles, but never was a huge fan of the band. However, when they came out a couple years ago, I think it was in 2013, they put out the album Melophobia, which I thought was a fantastic little rock album where the production was really upfront. It was really noisy and kind of dirty, but it was still a really energetic and fun rock album. Plus, I think the songwriting on that record was a little better than usual for the band. Sorry. Yeah, but I thought sorry, you're getting a little closer to me. There we go. But I thought that the songwriting was a little better compared to what I was used to from the band based on their singles and hearing some of the other songs some of the deeper cuts off of their other records. I thought this record was really great. And it had me excited to see what Cage the Elephant would do in the future. And of course, when I heard about this record that was going to be coming out, I got kind of excited to see what the band was going to do. But the one thing but this is going to be a raw review again, so I'm kind of going off the top of my head, which is not always the best thing, but I'm going to try to do this more often. But anyway, the thing about this record is that the way that the band talked about this record, I was expecting a drastically different record than what we got. There was like a trailer for this record, or like a teaser trailer, where Matt Schultz was like sort of speaking about what the album kind of about the making of the album. And I remember one time he said in that video, you can go and watch it on YouTube somewhere. He said that, and we tried to keep this record really raw. We kept a lot of the first takes of these songs that we did in the recording studio because we wanted this record to just have a rawness to it. And that got me excited because that was one of the qualities I loved about Melophobia, was that it felt so raw and in the moment, even though it was still really catchy and really punchy, and I think that was partially because of the production, but still, that had me excited. But then I kind of realized that Dan Auerbach of the Black Keys is producing this thing. And don't get me wrong, I love Dan Auerbach and the Black Keys. I love a lot of their early stuff. I liked their album Brothers, and I'm used to love El Camino, not so hot on it anymore. But what he's been doing of late just hasn't really vibed with me at all. Doing things like helping produce Lana Del Rey, like no, just not, no, just wasn't for me. And I don't know, just recently he's just been really sucking the life out of rock music. Honestly, it feels like I don't know, he's kind of gotten into a streak of just making boring, or putting his hands in, just sucking out life of everything he touches. No offense to Dan Auerbach, it's just my personal opinion. And it feels like he's done that on this record. It feels like him producing has sucked the life out of this band. On this 10-track album that's only about 38 minutes long. It's about the same length of Melophobia. Um, but this album is just so lifeless. Overall, I mean, there's definitely bright spots on this record that I could pick out. There is a few tracks that I think altogether are actually good songs and are good for Cage the Elephant, and they're all, only one of them is a more upbeat cut on the record. Um, Most of the ones that really stand out is when this band goes softer and goes for more of a ballad tone. because a lot of the spots where they try to go heavy, the production does not help the album at all. I mean, the production on this album is, well, I guess it's not bad. Like the guitar tones and like the bass and the drums, they don't really feel like there's any energy behind them, and it's just kind of feels a little drab, you know? It reminds me a lot of the last Black Keys record in a lot of senses. I mean, there are some good tracks on here. I'm going to talk about the good tracks first because there's a lot that I don't like. But I want to put these good tracks out there. The third track on here, Sweetie Little Jean. I thought that track was the only upbeat track that throughout the song kept me engaged. Even though maybe, I mean, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't even know. I'm going through stuff in my head, and I'm not even thinking about what I'm saying out of my mouth. But yeah, Sweetie Little Jean, I thought that song was really great. I liked the kind of stomping verses on the track, the beat on the verses. What did it remind me of? I think this track really reminded me of, like, I don't know, it's gonna be a weird thing to say, but I thought of it right away, like some early 2000s Newsboys. uh, I don't know. That's what it reminded me of. But I liked that record. Their 2002 record from the Newsboys. Wow, sorry. The 2002 record from the Newsboys, titled "Thrive," is a record that holds a special place in my heart, for various reasons. And that track just reminded me of it, especially on the chorus. I thought this track was was the only upbeat track on here, or the at least like trying to be forceful track on here that like was engaging from front to back. Um, the track Trouble, one of the tracks that they dropped before this album came out. I liked this track when it came out. I am liking it even more in this during the record as I gave it a few listens through. It's a really great bright spot in the middle of this record. It's a little bit of a psychedelic, jangly rock and pop tune. I mean, it's just a nice, dreamy little tune. I mean, I don't have a lot to complain about on this track. And then they have the track right after it, the longest track on here, the song "How Are You True," which is a nice acoustic moment in the middle of this record with some nice string sections. It really got me hoping that the second half of this record would be fantastic. But unfortunately, that really didn't happen. And there are other songs that I don't mind. I think that they have some potential. Like on Crybaby. Crybaby has the only chorus on here that made me go like, whoa, okay. And it actually got me excited for the rest of the record because it was actually kind of that chorus actually kind of like picks up the pace and it really explodes. Unlike a lot of the other songs on here where it's just like, oh man, it's so drab. Nothing happens on these choruses. It might even get worse on the choruses. Like there's one of the things that was great about Melophobia, and I guess about their writing style in general, for Cage the Elephant, at least, even though maybe some of they were really showing their influences on their sleeve, their choruses just blossomed and just exploded really beautifully. But it feels like it's not even their fault on this record. I think it's just the production really doesn't support these songs the way they're supposed to be. But yeah, the opener, "Crybaby," that was the only moment where I felt like the instrumentation really picked up, really exploded into the chorus on that track. And then it was kind of weird, they kind of go into this instrumental sort of bit that just kind of fades out of nowhere. And it was weird because I liked the instrumental bit at the end of it. It was like really psychedelic, the vocal the vocal effects, the effects Dan Auerbach, I guess, throws on Matt Schultz's vocals, I mean, sounded really, really trippy. And I liked the kind of slinky guitars that were playing as the song was fading out and the drum fills. But, it was just, it was disappointing. That's the number one, I guess, word that I could use to describe this record for me. Disappointing. I mean, there's so many tracks on here that I don't like because they're just so boring. Like, lead single "Mess Around," it sounds like something that the Black Keys would have put out in El Camino, except with more synthesizers. Oh yeah, the synthesizers come up in weird spots on this record that don't where they don't really need to be. Honestly, like it's kind of weird, and it just kind of kills the vibe of Cage the Elephant's music. Because, I mean, I'm not saying that Cage the Elephant has never used keyboards or piano or any kind of, keyed instrument ever. But I'm just saying that the synthesizers really kill the mood of these songs sometimes. Um, but anyway, I'm gonna keep going with the songs. The song "Too Late to Say Goodbye," another one of the songs that was dropped before this record came out. It's really a song that sounds like, actually, somebody described it very well in the comments that I found online. They said it kind of sounded like a bit of a, what's the word? It kind of sounded like it could be like a movie soundtrack song, which I kind of agree with now that I listen to the song more and more. That doesn't make the song good though, because the song still freaking sucks. I mean, it's so lifeless, and the song topic is really blah, in my opinion. And then we get the track Coco Cold right after it, which I think actually in Blueprint is not a bad track. But again, the production and just the performance of it is just so drab and blah. And then we get the track after two really good tracks on this thing. We get Trouble and How Are You True back to back, two fantastic tracks on this thing. We get the track, and then we get three tracks to close out the record that try to pick up the pace. They really try. The tracks That's Right, Punch and Bag, and the closer Portuguese Knife Fight, which I was really excited about. I was really excited about Portuguese Knife Fight, partially because of the title, and partially because the guitar tone that opens up the song really sounds like something that would have come off of Melophobia. So it was like, okay, this entire, at least this is going to give me hope for the next record, because this track sounded like it was going to be a real barn burner, which, feels like a fitting closer for this record, because the entire thing has been so boring. But I mean, this track is just, it's just so drab. It's hard for me to really describe this record. It's just so lifeless. It feels at a lot of points, especially on the tracks where I feel like the chorus should explode and the songs should really pick up the pace, but it's just like nothing happens. They just go into the chorus, and it's just, I don't know. This record was really freaking boring, and I do like the fact that they go to different styles on some of these songs. I do like that they kind of push themselves out of their comfort zone. They do a couple more softer moments on here. They try some new things, which I guess is good for them. It's not good for the fans, because this record was just a snooze fest, in my opinion. There's not many songs that I think I would keep listening to into the future. Maybe Trouble, and maybe How Are You True? Maybe some Sweetie Little Jean, if that song continues to grow on me, because I did like that song. Again, that song is a standout. Just because, I don't know, it's a well written track. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this record. It's not gonna be on my year-end list. Probably, maybe Trouble might make it onto my top 20 songs of the year, or get an honorable mention, but that's about it. Yeah, so I'm not feeling this record. I don't know. You know, it was just a really disappointing listen. Dan Auerbach, what happened, man? Uh, I hope these guys rebound from this, because I have a feeling none of the fans are gonna like this record either, because it's just a lifeless record. It really is. But anyway, that's all I have to say about this record. It's almost like 15 minutes now, so I gotta freaking finish up. My score is going to be in the description. If you want to go check out some of my other reviews, go on my channel. Maybe subscribe if you want to. But anyways, go check out some of my other reviews, see what I liked from this year. I'm going to be doing my list very soon. And that's all it. My name is Joe Proulx. This is Joe Proulx Music Reviews. And I am out.